The following video was originally a three-part series that we posted separately, but I've put them together here just to make them easier to watch. It was a series about double-aught buckshot, comparing military and hunting loads. So, enjoy. Well, today we're going to do something a little different. Today we're actually going to compare two different loads, but the loads have the exact same specifications. We have here Remington Buckshot. This is a double-aught buck. It has 9 pellets and a 2 3/4 inch shell, and it's moving at 1,325 feet per second. Here we have the military grade buckshot. This is Olin. It's made by Olin. It's head stamp Winchester. It is a 2 3/4 inch shell. It has 9 pellets of double aughts in it, and it is moving at 1,325 feet per second. They are identical according to the box. The difference is this was $5 and this was $10. So what we're going to do is we're going to shoot these two in the exact same shotgun. We're going to shoot them here in the Remington 870 with the 6.65 choke on it. We're going to shoot a 12-inch bullseye target down there at 30 yards and see how many of these pellets of double aught we can get in these two, and see if the Remington is worth the extra $5 a box compared to the Olin. Let's get set up here, and we'll shoot these two different loads and see how they perform compared to one another. Here we have our 870 with our Kick 6.65 choke on a 28-inch barrel. We have a Remington Express double aught 2 3/4 inch shell moving at 1,325 feet per second. We're going to shoot this 12-inch target at 30 yards and see how this patterns. All right, let's see what we got. Here we have the target for the Remington Buckshot. This is the box here. These are the 2 3/4 inch double aught bucks shot from the Remington 870 with the Kick 6.65 choke. These things are moving at 1,325 feet per second. There's 9 pellets in each individual load. In the 12-inch circle here, we got 5 pellets, which is a little bit over half the load, because 4.5 is half. So we got over 50% load in 12-inch circle. We got just a little bit under 50% of load in the 8-inch circle, which is the size of a smaller deer's lung area. So we have hit this deer pretty hard, and it won't go that far, even though we were using 2 3/4 inch shells. So we've tested the Remington Express buckshot from 30 yards. Now we're going to compare the results with the Olin, the military grade Winchester head stamped double aught 2 3/4 inch buckshot with 9 pellets moving at 1,325 feet per second, just like the Remington. The difference is these cost half of what the Remington does. These are not marketed as hunting ammo. These are simply military grade ammo. So that would imply home defense. But let's compare and see if this will substitute for the hunting ammo. All right, let's see how I did. Okay, so here we have the target for the military grade buckshot, the Olin Corporation buckshot. Here is the nice drab box, nothing special. Remember, this was half the price of the Remington buckshot. And actually, we have better performance in the 12-inch circle than we did from the Remington. We have 3, 4, 5, 6 pellets in the 12-inch circle, which is about 67% of the load. We only have 3 pellets in the 8-inch circle, which is a little bit less than the Remington, which had 4. So we have 33% of the pellets, or we can give it an extra one, 34. 34% of the pellets in the 8-inch circle. We have one here pretty close though. It's a good chance with 3 double-aught bucks in its lungs that this deer would pile up pretty close to where it was hit, especially since we got these other pellets that are pretty daggone close to vital areas, especially these two down here. So I don't believe this deer would have went far. Those military grade buckshot actually performed better in the 12-inch circle than the Remington Express. So I believe these are a viable substitute if you're using 2 3/4 inch double aughts for deer hunting. All right, now we're up here at 50 yards. And we're going to shoot the Remington Buckshot, the 2 3/4 inch double aught 9 pellet load. And we have a 12-inch circle like usual down there at 50 yards. We're going to shoot out of this Remington A70 with a 28-inch barrel and the Kick 665 choke. So let's shoot it and see what we get. All right, let's see how we did. So here's the target for the Remington Express double aught 9 pellet buckshot. As you can see, we have 2 pellets in a 12-inch circle. We have a third here that's cut the line, so we count that. So we have 3 pellets in a 12-inch circle. In the 8-inch circle, the lung area of smaller deer have at least 8-inch circle for the lung area. We have no pellets. So we've put no pellets in this deer's lungs. But we have 3 pellets that we've put in the deer for sure. The issue becomes, if we did not hit the lungs, we're relying on these 3 pellets to have damaged arteries or veins, pretty much, because your heart's down here. And it's a good chance that with these 3 pellets like this deer is recoverable. It may take a few minutes. It may take a few hours. But this deer is most likely recoverable. It would have been better to have a pellet or 2 in an 8-inch circle. So I can't fault it for this. I mean, we've got a third of the pattern in the deer, but it would have been better to have some in the 8-inch circle. All right, so we've moved up here to 50 yards, and we have the Olin Corporation double aught buck with the 9 pellets, a 2 3/4 inch load. This is the Winchester head stamp. This is a military grade. We're going to shoot at 50 yards here at a 12-inch circle and see how many of these 9 pellets we get in this 12-inch circle. So here we go. All right, let's see how we did. So here we have the Olin Corporation target from 50 yards, the double aught buck, 9 pellets. As you can see, we only have 2 pellets in this 12-inch circle. But we do have one in the 8-inch circle. The 8-inch circle is what we would say is the lung area of even the smallest whitetail. So we've put a 33 caliber pellet into its lungs. Most likely, this deer would have been recoverable. It becomes iffy when you start to talk about a big buck, because you're starting to talk about muscle that you're having to pass through. Even on the flanks, they have muscle. So at 50 yards, it's always a chance to shoot at a deer with buckshot, especially if you're starting to get even further than 50 yards. But all in all, a single pellet in an 8-inch circle with 9 pellets at 50 yards for buckshot is pretty good. All right, so our conclusions on the Olin Corporation double aught buck versus the Remington Buckshot double aught loads. These both have the exact same specifications. We've said that. And we have compared them at 30 and 50 yards. The Remington, the hunting ammunition, did better on the 30-yard target. We got about 45% of the load in the 8-inch circle, the lung area of a whitetail. On the Olin, we got a third of the pellets in the 8-inch circle the lung area of whitetail. Now, when we moved out to 50 yards, we got more pellets in the 12-inch circle with the Remington. We got 3. And the Olin, we only got 2. But we did get 1 in the 8-inch circle with the Olin. Now, we have shot quite a few of these. We only show you the first targets we shoot, the clean targets, and then we shoot up some stuff with the rest of the ammunition just to compare. This is the typical pattern of this buckshot. This is about what we get every time when we shoot this with this setup, with this Remington 870. If we showed you all the shooting we did, the video would be just too long. But there was something interesting that kept happening. You see the leaves have started to fall now. We're in the fall. The Remington hulls, we recovered every single one of them. They're easy to see. Nice green, nice shiny brass. So if you're reloading your hulls, that's a good thing. The military grade, the Olin shells, this drab camouflage sort of color, I only think we recovered 2 hulls. These 2 that I have on the table. We couldn't find the rest of them. We lost them in the leaves. Now we could go back with metal detector or something and find them. Yeah. But if you're in a hunting situation and you've just shot a deer and you want to recover your hulls, it would be easily done using the Remingtons. These Olin shells, I wouldn't count on it. So that was something interesting we found in the testing. So for up close and personal work, the Olin did just as well as the Remington. If you're keeping your shots close with your buckshot, if you hunt in coastal areas where you can't see very far, or thick woods like mountain laurels where you cannot see very far, and you're not going to be tempted to shoot long ways, the Olins do just as good as the Remingtons. When you're getting out there spacing out now, the Remingtons seem to do a bit better job of staying in the 12-inch circle than the Olins do. And that is probably got to do with the wadding. We recovered the waddings, and I'm not sure which wad came from which shot because we didn't recover them until after we shot. But we recovered one very cheap looking wad, and then we recovered one that looked like a standard hunting sort of wad. And my guess is the cheap one came out of the military grade, and the better looking wad came out of the hunting ammunition. But I can't prove that. I didn't try to recover the wads as we shot. We just picked them up as an afterthought. So anyway, that is their conclusion. The Olins, up close and personal, will do the job just as well as the Remingtons. If you want to recover your case, your hulls to reload, the Remingtons offer a definite advantage over the Olins. These camouflage shells are hard to find in the leaves. Hey folks, so last week's video where we compared the Remington Express double-aught buckshot to the Olin Corporation military grade double-aught buckshot, we got some feedback on it, and there's some people who want some things. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna do another video with the Remington Express this week, and next week we'll do the Olin Corporation buckshot. We'll take a closer look at both of them. So what we're going to do this week is we're going to take this here Remington Express buckshot, and you'll remember this is a 12 gauge load. It's a 2 3/4 inch load. It has 9 pellets of double-aught moving at 1,325 feet per second. We're going to take one of these shells and we're going to break it down for you. We're going to show you the components, how it's put together, and we'll talk a little bit about the different components, and then we'll come down here to the range and we're going to shoot a 5-shot group or 5-shot strand from 30 yards with the Remington Express, which was the same shotgun we used last week. And we're going to try to show this on camera. If this was any smaller shot, it would be really difficult to show a 5-shot group on camera because it's just going to tear the target up. But being buckshot, I think we've worked out a system to where we can show you the entire group, the entire 5-shot group on one target. We're going to find out together and see if we can. So let's go up and look at the shells here. We'll do a breakdown of the shell, and then we'll come back down here and we're going to shoot our 5-shot strand. Alright, so I lost the original sound on this clip, so we're going to have to voice over this thing. So here we have the Remington Buckshot. We have the 9 pellets of double-aught buck. There they are, with buffer. These double-aughts are a 33 caliber projectile. They weigh between 57 and 60 grains each, and they have a lead hardness of 9. That would make them a 25-1 lead 10 alloy. We have your typical hunting style wad shot cup. It's a plastic thing. Then we have some disc powder. Disc powder that we could measure, but we didn't. There was no reason because we didn't know what kind they were, what kind it was. So, and finally we have our hull. So there is our shell breakdown for the Remington Buckshot. And so now, next thing we'll do is take them down to the range and get the insides out the fun way. All right, so here we are at 30 yards. We have our 12-inch bullseye target set up down there. We have our Remington Express double-aught buckshot, and we're going to shoot a 5-shot group at the target down there. So here we go. Shot number 1. All right, number 2. Shot number 3. All right. Here we go, last shot. All right, we've shot 5 at it. Now we're going to take a look at the target and see what kind of results we can glean from that. All right, folks, so here's our target for our Remington Express buckshot, our double-aughts. Here's the box right here. Now, we fired 5 times down here from 30 yards with our Remington 870 with the Kick 665 choke. So 5 times 9 is 45. We sent 45 double-aught pellets down here at this 12-inch circle. We have 31 on this 12-inch circle. That's 69% of the total payload that we sent down here in this 12-inch circle. If you count this little guy up here in this 12 by 12 square, we have 71% of the total payload on this target. Now, but what's even better is for a hunter, we have this 8-inch circle. This 8-inch circle represents the lung area of even the smallest whitetail. We have 47% of the total payload in this 8-inch circle. We have pellets from all 5 shots. We have at least 3 pellets from all 5 shots in this 8-inch circle. And if you see the 5th shot, the last shot, I got 8 of the 9 pellets in the 8-inch circle. That's just one of those magical powers that us hunters have. We get better as we run out of shells. Our shooting does. We just know how to hold our tongue right when we get low on shells. So that's the reason that's like that. The average person wouldn't get that kind of performance. So anyway, but for home defense, if that's the reason you're watching, I mean, the distances will be considerably closer, and most home defense shotguns have a 8 to 10 inch shorter barrel than the 870 that I shot today. So this will do the job. You can take this down in the woods. You can, as long as your deer are close to you, you can bring your deer home. And at night, you can put it in a shorter barrel gun and you can defend your castle. So we got good performance out of this stuff. And don't forget, next week we're going to look at the Olin Corporation double-aught buck, which has the same specifications as this Remington Express, and we're going to see what kind of performance it has. I don't suspect it'll be quite this good from 30 yards because we're going to test it from 30 yards like it's a hunting load. And then you can infer your own conclusions from that. So 2 weeks ago, we tested some Remington Buckshot double-aught buck, hunting style 2 3/4 inch buckshot against some Olin Corporation military grade double-aught 2 3/4 inch buckshot. And then last week, we shot a 5-shot group with the Remington Buckshot at 30 yards out of this Remington 870 I have here. Well, today we're going to do the same thing with the Olin Corporation Buckshot. We're going to test this from 30 yards on a 12-inch target. And we're going to do just like we did last week. We'll cover the holes and shoot us a 5-shot string and see what kind of pattern we get out of 5 shots from 30 yards out of this 870. Before we do that, we'll go up to the table here and we'll take a look at one of these Olin Corporation shells broke down. Then we'll come back down here to 30 yards and we'll do some shoot and see what kind of pattern we get out of these things. All right, so here we have the shell breakdown for the Olin Corporation military grade double-aught buckshot. We have our 9 pellets of double-aught buck. That would be 33 caliber. The pellets themselves weigh between 50 and 52 grains each, and they have a hardness of between 10 and 12. So that would make them better than a 20-1 lead tin alloy, and that makes them harder than last week's Remington buckshot. We have a very large and hard buffer, almost salt-like. Then we have our plastic wad, no shot cup, just a wad. We have a finer disc powder than last week's Remington buckshot had. And here's our hull, our drab camouflage looking hull that has a Winchester head stamp because Olin Corporation is who makes the Winchester ammunition. So there's our shell breakdown for the Olin Corporation double-aught buck. Now let's go down to the range and see how these perform in a 5-shot group. All right, folks, so here we are at 30 yards. We have our 12-inch bullseye target down there, and we're going to be shooting these Olin Corporation. We're going to shoot a 5-shot group of these double-aughts out of this Remington 870 with a 28-inch barrel and a Kick 665 choke on it. All right, here we go. Shot number 1 with the Olin Corporation double-aught buckshot. All right, so we marked the first shot. Here comes number 2. All right, so here we go with shot number 3. All right, so we've got the first 3 marked. Here comes number 4. All right, so we've done the first 4. Here's number 5. All right, so we've shot a 5-shot string. Let's go down here and look at the target. All right, so here we have the target for the 5-shot group from the Olin Corporation double-aught buckshot. This is what the box looks like. Now we're comparing this to last week's Remington Buckshot. Now these are both double-aught loads with 9 pellets in them, moving at 1,325 feet per second. We shot both of them out of the Remington 870 from 30 yards with the Kick 665 choke. And daggone if these targets aren't nearly identical. The in the 12-inch circle here, out of our 45 pellets, we got 71% of the load. That's 32 pellets, I believe. In this 8-inch circle, we got 47% of the pellets. Exactly the same number as last week's Remington Buckshot. And on the total target, the 12x12 target, we have 80% of the 45 pellets on the target. We have at least 3 pellets from each shot in the 8-inch circle. Like I've said before, this is their lung area for whitetail. So all 5 of these shots took this deer. And some of them did a heck of a lot better than just 3 pellets. Several of them got 5 pellets in there. So this Olin Corporation buckshot was half the cost of the Remington buckshot. I see no reason why this couldn't be used to successfully take deer as long as the range was kept decent. So $5 compared to $10, like I said before, I mean, this will work. This Olin Corporation will work for deer hunting, and then you can use it to defend your house if you have to, and at half the cost of what the Remington will do. So that's all I really have to say about that. I mean, I'm surprised. My feelings are almost hurt because of this Olin Corporation buckshot. But anyway, until next time, y'all stay safe in the deer woods, and God bless.